Hey guys, welcome back to Daily Dreamer. Thanks for coming to hanging out with me, sharing a dream or two. Okay, lately I've been having a lot of dreams lately, and I hope that you guys have been too. You should leave me some comments. Let me know. Are you still dreaming? What kind of dreams you having? I'm having crazy wild ones, and they're great. Confusing, but great. Anyways, let's get to this one that I had the other day. Okay, so I wake up and I come to, and I am sitting in front of the council. That's all I know them as, and it's I don't know if I've explained this before in the past, but it's usually all dark. You can see them sitting up there in their chairs, and you're usually in front of a table. Most of the time, I have a white tablecloth there, and I'm sitting at the table and I'm discussing with them. Anyways, they tell me that I'm here to go on a journey, and of course, I'm always here to go on a journey. That's what the dreams are for. They're all journeys. Everything's a journey, So I'm like, okay, well, I'm unimpressed, but they say to me, remember these words, okay? And so I try to remember these words because it's very important, especially if you're getting them from the council. And what I thought I heard was in the midst of my remember moment, okay, me discussing and getting in my own head to remember this moment was what I thought they said was impossible, okay? I'm like, impossible? Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm going on an impossible mission? Does that mean something is not, likely to happen? What does that mean? Impossible. And then the next thing you know, I was in a scenario. The scenario was this. I was in the ocean. I was swimming, no problem. I had the waves crashing, and then suddenly, I don't know what happened. I must have lost my foothold or something, but I started to struggle with the water, and it's a scary moment because when you start struggling, you start panicking. And when you start panicking, you lose all senses. And so I started doing exactly that. And the water started rising up. And I could feel it starting to fill up my lungs. And then it was like, it just sort of dawned on me, change. And so I did. I changed the dream. But when I changed the dream, I came to and I was standing on these railroad tracks. And I got this railroad coming at me. Okay, this train. And it was going full speed. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? Okay, well, I immediately changed my dream. And I went and I was now on the top of a building. I'm like, this is not even funny because one, I don't even like heights. Two, I could feel it. I could feel the tingling sensation of this particular moment right here. Okay, I was in an impossible situation. I was on top of a building. There was no door behind me so that I could go down the stairs. No, the only way to go to get off that building was to jump. And if you look down, it was like looking down from the Empire State Building. It was very tall. You couldn't even see the ground. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do I have to brace for impact? What the heck, right? So I'm like, this is impossible. How do I do this? Oh, maybe that's what it was. Oh, they were telling me I was going on an impossible dream, an impossible journey. Well, what do? I don't know. I guess the only thing to do is jump, and that's what I did. I jumped. When I jumped, I knew I didn't want to brace for impact. I knew I didn't want the concrete to be right there below me so I could splatter everywhere. Nope. What did I do? I wanted to change the situation. I changed it. And I changed it all right. Because at that point, I was whisked back to consciousness. So what do you think that dream meant? I don't know. Let's go find out, shall we? All right, guys. So what do you think the dream meant? Well, there's lots of things that it could mean. But I took it to mean possibilities. Okay? Guys, it is important for each and every one of us to know what kind of thinkers that we are. Which one are you? Are you a possibility thinker or are you a probability thinker? A possibility thinker is someone who rearranges problems. They think in a lateral rather than a sequential way. There's always, ways to discover fresh new perspective in things. That's a possibility thinker. They make it work for them. And usually because they do make it work for them, it's enough to tip that balance that ends up going in their favor. Okay, that's a possibility thinker. They transform problems into opportunities, right? But if you're not a possibility thinker, you may very well be a probability thinker. What's a probability thinker? One who takes in the data and the facts, and they sit there and they do some scientific calculation to render what that possibility outcome may be. They sit there and they run numbers and they see the harsh reality of what the probability of the outcome is. And usually it ends up swinging their decision, running those numbers, that fact check going on, But usually it ends up leaning them towards more the negative way more often than not, okay? Because they run those numbers. They're fact checkers, right? The possibility thinkers, they look for the alternate ways for solutions. They think outside the box. They think outside the normal matrix code protocols, if you will. They're the ones that come up with the creative alternate, answers that you need. If you're a probability thinker, you're more apt to listen to people's opinions. Sometimes, of course, when you're a probability thinker, probability does work out sometimes, okay? But when it does, what happens is that we end up getting such an ego trip from it because, well, it showed the world that, hey, I was right. Hey, I'm smart. But the problem with that thinking, okay, when you rely on the probability thinking and only probability thinking, is that you rely on just your limited information to make decisions. Unfortunately, if you rely on probability thinking alone, many times and many things will end up staying the same for you, because what happens is that you end up pulling from the past experiences and times when you were right about something, so to create your future. Okay, so you take your experience and you create your future from that experience. All right, you end up staying in the same intellectual level. You end up associating with the same groups that you always, are with. You'll end up remaining in the same socioeconomic circles, okay? And you won't be able to expand your own possibility about yourself because, well, your knowledge led you to go ahead and believe that you were right back in the day. And that's fine if you have a great life, but you're going to feel helpless if you don't have a good life now, okay? Or your situation is in a very negative path right now. That doesn't help you now to sit there and be a probability thinker. All those impossible scenarios that I faced in each one of those scenes in the dream taught me one thing. As I said their words over and over and over. Impossible. This is impossible. This is impossible. It wasn't impossible that they wanted me to say. That's what I thought they heard. Obviously my perception was off, after all, it is dreamland there, and, sometimes things go right, but it was when that point was that I realized that every time when I faced the water filling up in my lungs, when I faced the fall off of that bridge, the concrete just below, every time I felt like I was in an impossible scenario, I changed the trauma. I changed it. I changed the probability of surviving into a possibility, but not by analyzing, but by merely thought, intention, and feeling. It wasn't impossible for me to say. What was whispered in my ears was, I'm possible. It was my thought and my intention that changed the outcome into a possibility, okay? So if our thoughts are possible, then we are possible. And if we are possible, then our perfect world that we crave is possible. And if our perfect world is possible, then the probability of us living simultaneously in happiness would tip the scales greatly, allowing new possibilities to open up for each and every one of us. So now you see why it's important to know if you're a possibility thinker or a probability thinker. If you're a probability thinker, you probably heard the words or hear the words impossible and see nothing but limitations. But if you're a possibility thinker, then what you're hearing is I'm possible, and you figure a way to break free from the negative stance trying to stand in your way. So now, guys, which thinkers are you? Till next time, guys, thanks so much for joining me for Daily Dreamer. Many blessings to you and sweet dreams.